on Daf. Was it Chaf Daled? Chaf Hey. The Mishnah on Daf Chaf Hey. Shiluchei mitzvah peturim min Sukkah. Messengers of a mitzvah, people that are sent to do a mitzvah, are patur from Sukkah. Holin, msham shehem peturim min Sukkah. Sick people and those that take care of them are patur from the Sukkah. A third category of patur, ochlim veshotim aray chutz leSukkah. They eat and drink in a temporary way outside of the Sukkah. So three things that are patur from the Sukkah. Rashi, shiluchei mitzvah, holchei bederech mitzvah. So we call them shiluchei mitzvah. They're sent to do a mitzvah. Lav dafka sent. But Rashi says they're going to do a mitzvah. Not only doing a mitzvah, but on the way to do a mitzvah. Kigon lilmod Torah. Someone that's going to learn Torah. Guy's on his way to yeshiva. It's patur from Sukkah. Ulakbil penei rabbo. He's going to visit his Rabbi. Person is chayav to visit his Rabbi on the holiday. V'lifdot shvuyin, and to redeem captives. Peturim min Sukkah, Rashi says, v'afilu b'sha'at chaniyatam. Even when they're camping, meaning, even when they're walking, they're patur. But even when they're sleeping, when they're stopping, they're patur from Sukkah. What?
Rabbi?
It's not a patur 100%. It's you're allowed to eat outside the Sukkah. It's not patur exactly, but I like a patur. Says the Gemara, Menani Mili, how do we know this? That shiluchei mitzvah are patur from Sukkah. Tetanu Rabbanan b'shivtecha bevetecha. When you're sitting in your house, prat le'osek b'mitzvah, as opposed to someone that's going to do, that's doing involved in a mitzvah. And when you're going on your way, prat le'hatan, as opposed to a hatan. Mikan amru. From here they said, hakones et betula patur. If you marry a betula, you're patur from Kriyat Shema. Ve'et almana hayav. And someone who marries almana is hayav. Rashi. V'shivtecha bevetecha prat lo-osek b'mitzvah she'eno hayav b'Kriyat Shema. Someone who's osek b'mitzvah is not hayav in Kriyat Shema. And that's a binyan av from Kriyat Shema. We're going to learn to all mitzvot. Uvlechtecha v'derech prat lehatan. Even though the hatan is also doing a mitzvah. So what's the chidush? You already told me osek b'mitzvah is patur. So hatan is another osek b'mitzvah. So what? So Rashi says, it's tzrichi lehu trekira'im. I need two pesukim. De'iha ve'ketiv had, if we would only say one pasuk. Kivan de hatan lav behedya ketiv bekra. It doesn't say hatan. It says uvlechtecha v'derech. Hava amina lo patara katuv ela toreach ve'osem lechet mitzvah biyadayim. Either the guy is actively doing the mitzvah, or hole or mehalech the mitzvah, or at least he's walking to the mitzvah where he's physically involved in the mitzvah. Aval hatan. Shu yoshevu batel, he's not doing anything. Ve'eno osek, he's not working. Ela tarid b'machshevet be'ilah. His problem is Kriyat Shema needs kavanah. The hatan is too nervous. He's too worried about the bi'ah that's coming. He can't have kavanah. So therefore, I might say that somebody whose problem is a mental problem. It's not a physical. He's not physically involved in the mitzvah. Lo patara katuv. Hilkach krayetera. From the extra pasuk, Ashma'inan you teach us, right? Ashma'inan you teach us the patur me Kriyat Shema, the tarid be machshavat be'ilah. that being tarud mentally is also poter you from Kiryat Shema. Now, that's why I need two pesukim. One for osek b'mitzvah begufo, and the other one is for tored b'machshevet mitzvah, when the tirdah of the mitzvah will be poter you. So now the Gemara goes back to ask, what does that say? Something about a mitzvah. Says the Gemara, my mashma mehani kirae prat la mitzvah. Where do I see to exclude a mitzvah from these pesukim? Amar Rav Huna says, kederech, you only chayav in Kiryat Shema when you're in an involvement is like derech. Ma derech reshut, afkol reshut. La'afuke haide b'mitzvah asuk. Says belech techav aderech, right? But derech, what's he going for? He's going to he's on a sales trip, right? He's going on a business trip. So therefore, he's chayav in Kiryat Shema. You're on a business trip, it's not a mitzvah. Leave it Rabbeinu Tam out of here. Right? You're on a business trip, it's not a mitzvah. It's personal. So that's when you have to stop to say Kiryat Shema. But if you were on a trip for a mitzvah, you wouldn't have to stop to say Kiryat Shema. Look in Rashi. Ki derech, holech bederech sechora. He's going on a business trip. He's chayav to say Kiryat Shema. Again, Amar Rav Huna kederech. Ma derech reshut, af kol reshut. Whenever you're involved in something that's not a mitzvah, it's a reshut. It's up to you. You have to stop. La'afuke hai the b'mitzvah asuk. The guy that's going to learn Torah, since he's osek b'mitzvah, he doesn't have to stop to say Kiryat Shema. So the Gemara asks on that, Milo askinan te ka'azil l'dvar mitzvah ve'ka'amara hamana likre. Who told you that this guy that's on the way is going to a business trip? Maybe he's going for Pidyon Shivuyim. Maybe he's on his way to yeshiva. Where does it say that he's going for a business trip? Milo askinan. Are we not talking the ka'azil is var mitzvah? He's going for a mitzvah, and even so, the ka'amara hamana likre, and the Torah still says he has to say Kiryat Shema. So you see the opposite. That osek b'mitzvah is not patur min mitzvah. Rashi, Milo askinan. Dechi enecha yachol lechlo b'mekra. Could you not include in the pasuk derech mitzvah im hareshut? Someone that's going to do a mitzvah along with someone going for reshut. Veha derech stama ketiv. It just says derech. Umashma nami derech mitzvah. V'ka'amara hamana lechayev lekrot. Then he's behayav. Says the Gemara back inside. Imken leimekra b'shevet uvlechet. Right? B'shevet b'bayit. Ubelechet baderech. Right? My b'shivtecha, you're sitting. Uvlechtecha, you're traveling. Belechet idach. Hu de mehayvat. Ha-belechet de mitzvah petirat. When you're going for you, b'shivtecha uvlechtecha. When you're going for you. Not when you're going for Hashem. Rashi. Im ken de b'derech mitzvah nami kai. Lichtov belechet baderech. When one is going on the way. Right? Why does it say b'shivtecha ulechtecha when you're going for yourself? But if you're going for Hashem, you're patur. Says the Gemara. Okay, so we have osek b'mitzvah is patur min mitzvah, and the second pasuk is coming to teach me not only osek b'mitzvah physically, but even osek b'mitzvah mentally is patur min mitzvah. Ihachi filu kones et almana nami. What, the guy that's marrying an almana is not doing a mitzvah? Only marrying a betula is a mitzvah? Says the Gemara, kones et almana lo tarib. The guy marrying an almana, he's not nervous. He's not worried that she's not going to be a betula. She's not a betula. He doesn't have to be nervous. The guy marrying a betula is nervous. Rashi. Ta'im ken de bederech mitzvah. Nami kai lichtov. Sorry. tarid, libo tarud, v'machshev be'ilah. Umistabra, so it makes sense. Ki patre kra mishum tirda patre. Why did the Torah poter the guy? Because he's nervous. Ve'enu yachol la'asok b'shnayim ke'achad. He can't do the two, can't think of the two things at once. Kones almana lo tarid, he's not nervous. V'yachol lekayem et shetehem. He can fulfill both. Says the Gemara. Oh, so now you're telling me a new yesod. V'chol heicha de tarid. Hachinami de patur. Whoever is nervous is tarud, is patur. Ela me'ata tav'a sfinato bayam. Right, the guy had a ship importing goods, no insurance. Right, if he had insurance, now it's ready. It's a simcha, but he had no insurance. Right, and the ship sank. He has a big loss. Hachinami de patur. He should also be patur because he's tarid. What are you going to say? Hachinami, yes, whoever is nervous is patur from Kriyat Shema. Amar Rabbi Abba bar Zavda. Amarav Avel Hayav Bechom HaMitzvot HaAmuro BaTorah. Says in Avel, he's definitely a nervous guy. Somebody passed away. He's patur, he's Hayav in all the mitzvot that it says in the Torah. Chutz min tefillin, except for tefillin. Why? Sha'arei ne'emar bahim pe'er. Over there it says pe'er, which we'll see soon. So you see, forget the fact that he's patur from tefillin, but he's chayav in Kriyat Shema, he's chayav in all the mitzvot. We don't say that somebody that's nervous is patur from mitzvot. So what's the difference between the Avel, who Barmenan lost his father, let's say, and the guy that lost the ship? Who's more nervous? Rashi. Imishum tirha, hai de parich. The guy that's asking, mash malay de tirdato potro. That being nervous is poter the person. Lefi she'enu yachol lechaven el libo, because he can't have kavanah. Right? Kriyat Shema is not lulav. Lulav, you pick it up, you put it down, you're good. Over here, you have to think. Yahed Hashem. I can't do that if I'm nervous. Hilkach afilu tav asfinato. So maybe even if he lost money, the tarud betza'aro, he's worried about his suffering liftor. So we said that can't be, because an avel is chayav in all the mitzvot except for tefillin. Shene'emar bahem pe'er. It says pe'er kidul kaman, like we're going to explain on Amud Bet. Ve'avel la bar pe'erhu. An avel is not able. Is that one behind you, Jackie? Is that a sukkah behind you? That Talmud? What's that? No, on top of the Alp Yosef. Down. What's that? Sukkah. Okay. Good. Oh, Sukkah?
No,
Sukkah. Okay, put it on the table.
It's missing.
It's missing this page.
Missing 10 pages.
Missing our pages. Okay. So false alarm. Okay. Rashi. Hatan tari tirda de mitzvah. So we say Hatan tari tirda de mitzvah. 1 second. Avel labar pe'erhu. Avel is not fitting for him to wear something that's called a pe'er. Ucheshemit pa'er. When he puts on the pe'er, mar'eh be'atzmo she'eno avel. He shows he's not an avel.
Avel past the burial?
Yeah, the first day. Not an onin. Onin is patur from all mitzvot because he's an osek b'mitzvah. So we say, the Gemara answers, Hacha, the Hatan, tarid tirda the mitzvah. He's nervous about a mitzvah. So therefore he's patur. Hatam, the avel, and the guy who is worried about his boat, tarid tirda dirshut. His tirda is not a mitzvah.
Right. Why can I answer even easier?
What?
Second day after the onen, new period, it's the Rabbanan, not the right time. The other stuff is the right time. What do I need to go all the way about this?
You didn't understand the question at all.
He doesn't have to wear it to leave.
No, that's not the question. The question is, why is he chayav in all the mitzvot? He's nervous. Why is he chayav in Kriyat Shema? The Gemara answers, his nervousness is not a mitzvah. Now, what do you mean his nervousness is not a mitzvah? It's a mitzvah to be an avel. The first day is for sure mitzvah deoraita. Maybe the second day is not, but the first day is. So Rashi says, Hatan tari tirda de mitzvah. Va'ashmu'inan kara, the Torah is teaching us, the lo mechayev lahasir da'ato mimachshevet mitzvah rishona b'shvil zu haba'a alav. He's already involved in a mitzvah. He's planning his bi'ah rishona. So he's nervous. Now you tell him, no, now it's time for Kriyat Shema. Control your mind. Take your mind off of the machshevet bi'ah rishona and think about Kriyat Shema. He's not hayav to do that. Why? He's already osek b'mitzvah. Masha'enken, when it comes to the avel, he's also nervous. Or the guy that ship sank, he's also nervous. It's not a mitzvah. Take your mind off of that tirda and put it on Kriyat Shema. Tirda dirshut, says Rashi. Sorry, before that. He could think about the first mitzvah. He should pay attention how to do it correctly. Tirda dirshut. She'afal pi shu hayav linhog avelut shel ne'ilah rechitza v'sicha. It's a mitzvah to be an avel. Avelut is a mitzvah deoraita, according to the Rambam. Right? So if it's a mitzvah, why are you telling me it's a tirda dirshut? He says, no. The acting like an avel is a mitzvah. Leharot kavod meto. Because by acting in avelut, he's showing kabod of the met. Eno hayav lehitzta'er. But to internally feel troubled, that's not a mitzvah. It's natural, but it's not a mitzvah. So therefore, when it comes time for Kriyat Shema, you have to put your grief aside and focus on Kriyat Shema. Says the Gemara, "Ve'haosek b'mitzvah patur min hamitzvah mehacha nafka." Do we learn osek b'mitzvah patur min hamitzvah from here? Mehatam nafka. I learn it from there. Titanya vayhi anashim asher hayu temeim lenefesh adam. There were people that were tameh from a human. Right? Where's that? Look in Rashi. ויהי והעוסק במצווה דפטור ממצווה מהחנף קמינים לשבתך בביתך ויהי אנשים בפסח מדבר. It's in the Korban Pesach that they brought in the midbar, right? Kra, it's missing a word there. Ayri kra b'shana hashenit li'yitziat Mitzrayim. In the second year of Yetziat Mitzrayim. So what were they tameh from? What happened? So if we think when we're talking about, it's Nisan of the second year. On the first of Nisan, what happened on the first of Nisan in the second year? They put up the Beit HaMikdash. They put up the Mishkan. So Nadav and Avihu died on Aleph Nisan, right?
So how did they stay tameh until the 14th?
It's an excellent question. Let's see, right? So who Otam Anashim Mihayu? Who were these people? Right? Noseh Arono Shel Yosef Hayu Devrei Rabbi Yossi Aglilu. They were the people that were carrying the Aron of Yosef. What?
Nothing to do with the Tana.
Nothing to do with that.
No,
The Tana Aviram, I didn't say Nadav and Avihu. I didn't say that. I'm just putting us in the time frame, okay? So Noseh Arono Shel Yosef Hayu. Right? That was like last year. Carrying Yosef's Aron. They've been stuck in the same place for since Matan Torah. No, from it was only a year. But B'Chodesh HaShelishi, Ba'al Midbar Sinai, they're still there. So where'd you move them to? We'll see. Noseh Arono Shel Yosef Hayu Devrei Rabbi Yossi Haglilu. Rabbi Akiva Omer, Mishael ve'el Safan Hayu, Shayu Asukim, Oskim Benadav ve'Avihu. Right? Moshe told Mishael and Elzaphan, the nephews of Aharon, right? The cousins of Aharon? No, they're the cousins of Aharon. They're the sons of Uziel, Dod Aharon. Uziel is Aharon's uncle, so they're Aharon's cousin, right? Right? Who they kirvu su'et achechem. Right? Over there, Jackie. Kitvu? Two ta'amim. It's two ta'amim. Right. Backwards. Right? Benadav ve'avihu. Right? Shayu osukim. Benadav ve'avihu. They pulled them out of the Kodesh and they buried them. So they became Tameh. L'chaura, the question is, that was on Aleph. Right? Rabbi Yitzchak Omer. Rabbi Yitzchak says, both of those don't make sense. Im noseh arono shel Yosef hayu kivar hayu yocholim litaher. They have plenty of time to become tahor.
Where are they putting Yosef?
Doesn't matter.
He
You have to
put him
touch
in a room and leave him. You have to stay with him all the day. Im Yishael vel tzafan hayu yocholim hayu litaher. They also could become tahor. Ela oskim b'mitzvah hayu shechal shevi'i shelahem liot be'er Pesach shene'emar v'lo yachlu la'asot ha'Pesach. Bayom hahu, they weren't able to make the Pesach that day. Bayom hahu and yocholim la'asot. Halemachar yocholim la'asot. They couldn't make it that day, but they could have made it the next day. So, what do we? Let's first analyze, and then we'll double analyze. Let's see. Rashi. Achi garsinam bebraita besefri. Rabbi Akiva Omer Mishael ve'el Safan hayu shenitmeu benadav ve'avihu. Rabbi Yitzchak Omer im noseh arono shel Yosef hayu yocholim hayu litaher. ואם מישאל ואלספן היו יכולים היו להיטהר, אלא מי היו? תמאם מצווה היו שחל שביעי שהם להיות בערב הפסח, שנאמר ולא יכלו. אם נושא ארונו של יוסף, או מישאל וצפן היו יכולים היו להיטהר, שהרי באחד בניסן הוקם המשכן, on Aleph Nisan they put up the משכן, ושני לו, on the second day, שרף אלעזר את הפרה, on the second day they burned the para. The para aduma, shiyazu, in order that they could sprinkle, al teme'emet shebahen, on whoever was a tame'emet, la'asot peshehen betahara, to be able to make the korban pesach betahara, kida'amar b'masechit gitin, shmone parashiyot ne'emru b'yom shukam ha'mishkan. 8 parashiyot was said that day. Upara aduma ahad mehen. One of them is para aduma. Ube'ehad b'nisan hukam ha'mishkan. When we say that the Mishkan was put up on the 1st of Nisan, vehu het lemiluim. There's different ways to understand it. If you would understand that Nisan, the first day of Nisan was the first day of the Miluim, so then the 8th day would be the first day of the real Mishkan. Then the para would be on the 9th. You don't have enough time to make the para aduma to be mazir before what's it called. But if you believe that the 8th day of the Miluim is Yom Rishon, right? Kedekai Malan, Oto Hayom, Natal Eser Atarot, right? That day took 10 crowns, right? Ubo Metu Nadav Avihu, Hilkach Merosh Chodesh, Ve'ada Pesach, Hayu Yecholim Litaer, till the 14th, they have plenty of time. Vekra Amar Velo Yachilu, not that they didn't, they weren't able to. ונושא ארונו של יוסף נמי, כבר עברו עליהם 10 חודשים ויותר. It's already 10 months, שלא נסעו מי שחנו בהר חורב בראש חודש סיוון. From ראש חודש סיוון, right? It's 10 months. כדכתיב ביום הזה באו מדבר סיני. ולא נסעו משם עד 20 באייר של שנה הבאה. That year, דכתיב, ויהי בשנה השנית, בחודש השני, ב-20 בחודש, נעלה העלן, ויסעו מעל השם. So there was no need to move Yosef's bones for a good 10 months at this point.
But they didn't know they were going to be gone.
Every day they went in to pick it up to see if Hashem wanted to go somewhere? That's the question. So therefore, Rabbi Yitzchak says, Teme'em mit mitzvah, lav mit mitzvah davka ka'amar. Ta'afilu metehen, anybody that died, nami mitzvah kari lehu. The mitzvah let'asek bahem. It's a mitzvah for the relatives to be involved. Kegon ha'amurim beparashat kohanim, sha'kohen metameh lahem. Shehal shevi'i shelahem. The 7th day was on the 14th. Ve'afal gav de'hazu le'urta. So even though, what's the problem? I'll set aside, right? If my 7th day is Erev Pesach, when you have to bring the Korban Pesach, I'll let you bring it for me. And tonight I'll go to the mikveh. Tonight I'll be ready to eat with you, same time, right? Lo ishtiru, we don't allow them to bring it. The kasavar, this Tana holds, en shohatim vezorkim al tmei sheretz. You can't even make shechita and zerikat adam for somebody who's tmei sheretz, doesn't even need a paraduma. All he needs is mikvah. But since at the time of the korban he's not eligible, we don't let him. Mikol makom shamina mineh the osek b'mitzvah patur min mitzvah. Why? And when did Moshe Rabbeinu? He told them to make the korban pesach early in the month, right? So now, let's say it's day, what is it? Day 8 comes, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, right? The 8th day, this is the guy's father dies, right? Don't touch him. Why? Because you're not going to be able to bring korban pesach. What? I don't know what to do, but you don't touch him. Somebody else. Someone is not hayab. Have goyim touch him.
You didn't have to.
Find goyim. I don't know. The Erev
Middle of the desert. Where are they gonna find goyim?
Don't worry. We're finding
They
the
didn't have
find
that yet. Everybody was getting
malachim. I don't know. Right? Right.
We tell the Kohen Gadol to stop and bury the mitzvah. And this guy's not gonna.
There's no one there. There's no one.
Okay. So anyway, so Rashi says, the avarav the chazu leurtar. Where is he? Mikol makom shaminan the osek b'mitzvah patu min mitzvah sharei nitmeu b'metehem shiv'a yamim lefnei pesach ve'af al pi shetumah zu te'akev al yadam achilat peschahem. Even though this tumah is going to stop them from doing another mitzvah, alma mitzvah kala haba'al yadecha, even a lighter mitzvah that comes to you, encha tzarich lidchotah. You don't have to push it off. Because of the mitzvah hamura that's going to come. Says the Gemara. So I learned from here. Osek b'mitzvah of kivurat metim is patur from the mitzvah of korban pesach. Says the Gemara. Tzricha. I need both. Di ashmu'inan hatam. If you
for korban pesach or the mitzvah also.
Again, once you see it applies by Korban Pesach, for sure it will apply by other mitzvot. The same thing like Kiryat Shema. Huh? What do you mean beferush?
In Torah that you can't bring the Korban.
And so why do you get tameh? Don't become tameh. You with Selim, I told you. Says, have a goy do it. Says Gemara. Malach. Selim doesn't believe they had goyim.
Not yet. Not until the 40s.
Selim's problem is that the goyim couldn't come in the ananeh hakavod.
Right.
That's what he meant.
Like
Hatam mishum tzricha. I need both. Diyash minan hatam if it'll be by korban pesach mishum delo matas man hiyuva the pesach. It's not yet the time of the pesach. Maybe that's when we allow you to do a different mitzvah. If you're still pre the second mitzvah, so do whatever mitzvah is applicable now. Aval hacha de matazman kiryat shema. Right? It's already the time of kiryat shema. So both mitzvot are there. Maybe we don't say osik mitzvah, patu mitzvah, emalo, tzricha. So you have to tell me kiryat shema. Look in Rashi. Delo matazman chiyuva. Keshenitmeu adayin lo higia zman achilat pesach. Aval kiryat shema. Demata zman chiyuva betoch hachupa. Right now, I could take my mind off of the biyah and do Kiryat Shema. Maybe I'm able to. Like Zoli said before, when it was the day that the guy died, I couldn't do Korban Pesach. So I did the mitzvah. Now that I did that mitzvah, I can't do Korban Pesach. I can't do both. Masha'en came when you're talking Kiryat Shema and the Chatan. Okay, they're both here now. Take your mind off from one, go to the other one. Then the Gemara says, "V'i ashmu'inan hacha." If you only tell me Kiryat Shema, mishum deleka karet. This is a mitzvah, and that's a mitzvah. Hatan is a mitzvah. Kiryat Shema is a mitzvah. But are you going to talk about burying a met as a regular mitzvah? Korban Pesach is a mitzvah. Sheyesh bo karet. Maybe you have to suspend all other mitzvot that are going to prevent you from Korban Pesach, which has karet. Kamash malan, even a mitzvah kala, Osek b'mitzvah, patur from a mitzvah hamura, even a mitzvah sheyesh bo karet.
Why don't we say put the mat to the side and then do it later?
Because osek b'mitzvah, patur min a mitzvah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with the malachim. Okay. Aval hatam diika karet emalot tzricha. Rashi, aval pesach de bekaret hu. Emalo yitmeu bemet kol shiv'a lefnei pesach. Tzricha, we need it lemichta b'yom hahu. Lashmo'inan to teach us din itmeu toch shiv'a. They became tameh within the 7 days. The osek b'mitzvah patur min ha-mitzvah. Okay. Now we go back. Kufa, we learned Amar Rabbi Abba Barzav da Amarav. Avel Hayav bechol mitzvot amurav paturah. Avel is Chayav in all the mitzvot that it says in the Torah. Chutz min tefillin. Besides the tefillin. Shareh ne'emar bahem pe'er. It says pe'er. Where do we learn that from? Mida Amar le Rahamana li Yechezkel. Hashem told Yechezkel, pe'ercha habosh alecha. Right? So Yechezkel, look in Rashi. Rashi puts it in context. Hashem told him, I'm going to take the treasure of your eyes in a magefa. Right? His wife passed away in a plague. And then Hashem told him, He'anek dom metim. Evel lo ta'aseh. Right? Evel lo ta'aseh. Meaning, lo tetabel aleha. I don't want you to mourn her. In what ways should you not mourn her? Pe'ercha habosh alecha. Put your pe'er on. It's not in the pasuk, it says pe'ercha habosh. Al roshecha, meaning, shelo kederech she'ar avelim. Not like other avelim. Lefi she'ani oseh otcha ot u'mofet liYisrael. I want you to be a symbol for the Jewish people. Shekach atidim lamut metehem. Barminan, people are going to die. Ve'en ish metabel alehem, and nobody's going to mourn for them. Alma avel asu betefilin. From the fact that Hashem told Yechezkel, listen, you're going to be an avel, but you're not going to be noheg avelut. How you not going to be noheg avelut? Put on your tefillin. So that's a sign. The other avelim didn't put on tefillin. Atu de mehayvat. You are hayav. Avakule alma ptiri. V'hani mili biyom rishon. This, what you patur from tefillin, is only on the first day. Dichtiv, like it says, ve'acharita kiyom mar. Its end is like a bitter day. So we see that the avilut from the Torah is ikaro 1 day. Rashi. Whoa. Avel is chayav in Kriyat Shema, but he's patur from tefillin. I was saying that only Yechezkel put on tefillin, because he was not keeping avelut. But every other avel does not put on tefillin.
What time did she die that he didn't put it on? If she died in the middle of the day, he already put it on. Oh, but then they wore all day. They wore all day.
What make a difference? And if he didn't die, whatever it is, he doesn't put on tefillin. V'hani mili diyom biyom rishon dechtiv acharita kiyomat. Rashi. V'hani mili biyom rishon deikar mirera demein bitterness chad yomat. Kedechtiv acharita kiyomar. Ve'amar Rabbi Abba bazavda amarav. Avel hayav besukkah. An avel is hayav in sukkah.
So they not have available during the holiday? That stopped the available.
Rashi, Avel hayav besukkah. Pshita. Ma'u detei mahoyo v'amar Rabbi Abba barzav da amarav. Mitzta'er patur min sukkah. Someone who's suffering is patur from the sukkah. Hai nami mitzta'er, who he's also suffering. Kamash malan. So he's teaching us hani mili tza'ara de memela. That tza'ar that comes on its own. Aval hacha ihu hu de kamitza'ar nafshet. He's bringing his own tza'ar. That doesn't make sense. It's not his fault. Somebody died. What?
Rabbi, what am I missing? He's not avel. Is the met buried yet or not?
The met is buried.
So how's the avilut on Yom Tov?
You mean, very excellent question. Let's see Rashi. Pshita, Maishnaha, Mishar mitzvot. Didn't Rabbi Abba Bar Zavda say him Rav Avel is chayav in all the mitzvot? Right? Avel chayav bekol mitzvot. So we answer, Sa'ara de Memela. That's Sa'ara de Memela, meaning Shahasuka mitza'arato. Sa'ar that comes from the Sukkah. Kegon Hama, or Tzina, or Sircha. Whether it's too hot, like this year might be, or too cold, like other years are, or sircha, let's say he used schach and then it rained, right? And now the schach smells. So he's sitting in the sukkah and it bothers him. He's patur. Because if he goes inside, the tzar goes away. But the avel is sitting in the sukkah and he's tormented from the fact that somebody died. So if he goes inside, is he going to be less tormented? So what's the difference? Same thing. Jojo, you want to know an avel who somebody passes away on Sukkot, right? He's still an avel. He's just not noheg avelut until after. But varim shebetzina is chayav to be noheg on Sukkot. But being that we're talking about a guy who is suffering, Azid, if the guy's father passed away Erev Sukkot, right? So they made a burial, right, on Erev Sukkot, and he sat for 5 minutes. So what, all the pain went away because he's not sitting? It's the same thing. It's still 2 days after.
So it's a matter of suffering. It's not a matter of there's nothing osek.
Right. He's not osek b'mitzvah. But I mean, it's more mashma, the first way that I said. That he actually has dinei avilut, because otherwise it's not so related to the first statement. The Amar Rabbi Abbas Barzav, the Amarav Hatan.
I don't understand this thing. Everybody is mitzdayer. What's that mitzdayer me'asukah? Everybody mitzdayer me'ahom. Everybody mitzdayer
That.
And this one, is like.
That's who's patur. A hatan's tsa'ar is not from the sukkah. His tsa'ar is what?
Personal, right now, everybody gets hot.
Exactly, everybody's getting hot. Everybody's getting
If it's too hot, you go inside.
So they all sketch.
Exactly.
Cold, you have a coat. Hot, be'emet. One year, there was crazy flies. I don't know if I remember. It was like an invasion of flies. We went inside. You couldn't eat. Try and eat salad, right? When the fly, they're not from when they grew. They're coming in now. It was crazy.
Those yellow jackets.
No, yellow jacks is nothing. This was tiny little gnats that were like swarming the sukkah. They were the lights. They would gather on the lights and then die and fall into your food. It was a crazy thing. It was raining
That was
bugs.
the year we tried to do the mesh.
Yeah, we spoke about the mesh that year. Exactly. Okay. So the Gemara says, "V'amar Rabbi Abba Barzav the Amarav Hatan ve'hashush binin ve'kol bnei achupa peturim min hasukah." The Hatan, his friends, all the people that are in the chuppah, meaning the chuppah means in the party, the Sheva brachas, are patur from the sukkah kol sheva, all 7 days. My ta'ama mishum deba'u lemechte. They have to be happy with the Hatan. Rashi lemechte lismoach. What?
What is in the Hatan?
That's good. Says the Gemara, velechlu besukkah, velechtu besukkah. Why don't they eat in the sukkah and party in the sukkah? And simcha ela bechuppah. The simcha is only in the chuppah. Says the Gemara, okay. Velechlu besukkah, velechtu bechuppah. Okay. So put the buffet in the sukkah and then go hang out and the party in the sukkah, in the chuppah. And simcha ela bimkom seudah. To be happy without food doesn't work.
I don't get it. Who's the whole party or just the Hatan himself?
Everybody, the Hatan and all.
Everybody is patur because of it?
Yes,
And since when are you allowed to have wedding has to be before?
that's right. The wedding was before.
And we don't make Simcha and Simcha.
The wedding was before.
And Sukkot.
Erev Sukkot. Rashi says it. Look in Rashi. Rashi says later, where is it?
They give him cute prize.
I know they do it on Shabbat, but I thought the holiday you don't do Simcha and Simcha.
Rashi and Tarte, look in Rashi, Shte mitzvot, Sukkah mitzvah nisuin. Uchgon shenasa erev haregel. אבל בתוך הרגל קיים עליהם במועד קטן, דאין עושים נשים במועד.
So what got married and so that
The Sheva Berachot is the whole
is
Sukkot.
the actual Sukkot.
Forget that the whole week. The whole Sheva Berachot. Ready? Says the Gemara.
Everybody now is Batur because
That's right. Says the Gemara. V'le'evdu chuppah b'sukkah. So make the chuppah in the sukkah. The Hatan and the Kala will sit in the Sukkah and everybody will join him there. Abaye Amar Mishum Yichud. Abaye says there's a Yichud problem. Rava Amar Mishum Tsa'ar Hatan. My Benayu, what's the difference? Ike Benayu, the Shchichi Inshi, the Nafki, Ve'ayli Lehatam, if people are walking in and out of there. Lemanda Amar Mishum Yichud Leka, because people are walking in and out. Lemanda Amar Mishum Tsa'ar Hatan Ika. Rashi. Mishum Yichud. Testam Sukkah Hayu Osim Begagotehem. They made the Sukkot on the roof. Ve'en derech bi'avi siyah sham larabim tamid mepenei Torah. People don't walk in and out over there because it's a pain in the neck to go up to the roof. Ve'sheme yered hatan la'asot tzerachav. Maybe the hatan needs a bathroom, so he's going to go back down to wherever the bathroom is. V'yityahed acher makala, and there's somebody else along with the kala. Masha'enken, if the chuppah is downstairs, people are constantly walking in and out. The problem is no, somebody else is going to be private with the kala.
No, I'm saying the concern is the privacy.
No. Right now, the concern is somebody else is going to be along with the kala when the hatan walks out. What?
Any woman.
Any woman. The women are not in the sukkah.
You need 10 men.
Tsar hatan. Shamakom tsar. The sukkah is narrow and patuach. It's open. She'en la'ela shalosh tefanot. It only has 3 walls. Ubosh l'sachek im kalato. He's embarrassed to laugh around with his kala if he's sitting in the sukkah. Masha'en ken in the chuppah. Kanere, I don't know. He has like it's more closed. It's more private. He's not embarrassed to laugh. Why he's on the roof? Why is he so embarrassed? I don't have it. Okay.
But it was all the people. The whole body was there.
It's a little bit difficult.
That was
Yeah.
the roof.
It's an issue, yeah. So he's saying everybody's looking from the other roofs.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Okay?
It's an example that
Maybe. Okay. Amar Rabbi Zeira. Rabbi Zeira said, Ana achli besukkah. I ate in the sukkah. V'chadi besukkah. And I v'chadi bechuppah. And then I went back to the chuppah. The Hagahot changes it to Ani, Ana, Vechadi Besukkah. Amina, I said, Kol Sheken the Hadai Libai. I was happier. Te Ka'avidna Tarti. I got both. Rashi, Tarti, Shte Mitzvot, Sukkah Mitzvah Nesu'in. Gon Shenasa Erev HaRegel, like we said, V'toch HaRegel Kaimalan B'moed Katan, De'en Osim Nashim B'moed. Look in Tosfot. Tosfot says, En Simcha Ela B'chuppah. Mashma mikan, de'em yatsa hatan mechuppato, afilu kalato imo, v'holchim le'echol bebayit acher, de'em mevarchim shasimcha b'mono, v'lo birkat hatanim, de'en simcha ela b'chuppah. Doesn't say beta hatan, it says b'chuppah. Now I don't understand. Rav Acha, who Rabbi Zera, Achli besukkah. If you have the gesa v'chadi bechuppah, so then he didn't make sheva berachot. You see the opposite. The Gemara is mashma not like that. If you have the gesa v'chadi besukkah, so he made his chuppah. They made him right. Ubeperek hamad dektubot amrina nami mevarchim berkat hatanim bebet hatanim. Mashma davka b'mkom chuppah dehu bet hatanim. But any place else, no. So if you go out temporarily from the chuppah, even though you're eating someplace else, that's not a simchat chuk chasudah because it's not in the chuppah. Umiu and ra'ayamisha. From the lashon of bet chatanim, it's not approved. The dilma, when it says bebet chatanim, it doesn't mean as opposed to not in the hatan's house. The dilma la'afuki mid Rabbi Yehuda ka'ati. The amar af bebet ha'erusim mevarchim ota. Rabbi Yehuda says they made birkat hatanim already from the erusim. So maybe when it says bebet chatanim, the bet erusim is in bet aviyah shel kala, in the kala's house, right, in the father's house, and the bet chatanim, the nisuin, is when she moves into his house. So that's why we say bebet chatanim as opposed to bebet ha'erusim. V'tzarich ledakdek mahi chuppah. What's the chuppah? Right? What do we call a chuppah? Something in the dome, right? Something in the dome, right? Where you get married. So what are you going to say? The chuppah is where they first got married? He says,
according to Yehuda, they're already living together from Irusim, no?
They weren't living together. They were miyachid them sometimes. They weren't living together, right?
So places that they do.
His
the
place,
chuppah
is a chuppah at his place, his private place.
The question is, what is the chuppah? What is the chuppah? Normally the chuppah, you make the chuppah, that's where you get married, in the chuppah, right? It says if you're going to call it the place where you get married, kari le chuppah pa'amim sha'afilu berchov ha'ir mevarchim ota kesheha'am mirubim ve'en yecholim likanes b'bayit. So in the old days, they would get married in the house, right? If it was a big crowd, a chashuv a guy, they would make the chuppah in the street, and then, so what are you going to tell me? You can only make sheva berachot in the street?
This is what they do in private heights. They do chuppah outside.
Okay.
You know, and then they,
Ela mekom ikar yeshivat hatan vekala kari lechuppah. The main place where the hatan and the kala are partying, that's called the chuppah. Velo makom. You see, he's embarrassed to be here. He's got to have a place to joke around with his kala.
They put it together. It wasn't separate.
that means it's fine.
Everybody else was separate except for the kala and the
That is
hatan.
his house.
Lav dafka.
Why?
Velo makom ha'asui le'akrai be'alma. Not just the temporary place. V'sham mevarchim berkat hatanim kol shiv'ah. So they would set a permanent place for the party, and that's what they would make the seudah and the what's Lav dafka. As long as it's not. So now,
that is in private with his wife, whatever that.
no, it doesn't say that. It can't be a makom akrai be'alma. Meaning, if he goes, Tosfot said, "Mash mamikan de'im yatsa hatan mechupato, afilu kalato imo, right? Ve'ochlim holchim le'echol bebayit acher em mevarchim." The only place they do it is in the chuppah. So, if you ask me, based from this Tosfot, which the Rosh says the same thing, right? The Rosh says.
They put the talit, it's like a chuppah within a chuppah. To look at each other.
The Rosh says, Tzarich yomar chuppah, he quotes the same thing. Ela b'makom ha'asui ikar yeshivat ha'hatan v'kala kari lechuppah. V'lo b'makom ha'asui la'akrai be'alma. V'sham mevarchim birkat hatanim kol shivah. V'noagim be'ashkenaz, she'osim apiryon, they make like a canopy. Le'moshav ha'hatan v'kala, v'hu nikra chuppah. ונראה דמהכה אין ראיה שאין לברך ברכת חתנים במקום שהחתן והכלה הולכים לאכול בבית אחר. תהכי פירושו הכה, אין שמחה אלא בחופה, כיוון שאין דעתו להניח חופה. He's not leaving the חופה אלא כדי לאכול בסוכה. The main party is downstairs, but the food is being served in the sukkah. אבל אם הולך לגמרי לבית אחר, הוא וחבריו אחריו ועושים אותו בית עיקר, גם שם נקרא חופה, ויכול לברך שם ברכת חתנים. וכן היה מעשה באדם אחד, שהוליך כלתו לעיר אחרת, והצליחו לברך שם ברכת חתנים. So the Rosh doesn't sound like it has to be in one place. Wherever you're making the Ikar, Moshav, Hatan, Vekala, you make the Beracha. It's not, what? No, wherever you're making the Simcha, if the Chuppah, wherever the Chuppah is, you don't have to sleep where the Chuppah is. In the Rosh, it doesn't say that. In the Tosfot, it doesn't say that. Mashma'ut is, it's a makom that's the Ikar of the Simcha and not a makom Akrai. You're going to tell me in the Hatan's house is a makom Simcha? He's not doing anything over there. He's not doing, they're busy setting up the house, right? What does the Hatan do for 7 days with his wife? He's off. They're busy setting up the house. They go tipping the dishes. They're getting the sheets, Marshalls and Home Goods and all these places. That's where they live.
Wherever he is.
Wherever the party is. That's the pashtutis, right? You have somebody, they spent a whole week preparing a party. There's a huge party. No, that's not a makom simcha. Where's the simcha? In his apartment with the boxes. The whole position is ridiculous. The whole thing is such a nonsensical idea. Lo nitan lehe'amer. The people that are medaktek on Bet Chatan, Gedolei HaHaronim, Chamovadia, a lot of great rabbis. Ani lo mevin. It doesn't. It's not what it says. You're taking one line. Naran says Bet Chatanim, so they say Bet Chatanim. Tosfot told you Bet Chatanim as opposed to what's it called. Maran holds of makom chuppah, but it's clear that any place you're making the simcha, that's the makom chuppah. Pashut. To me, it's pashut.
So how
Yes.
can we take seudah literally and not chuppah? And
We don't have a, if
we don't do sheva berachot just for
either
wine.
never make sheva berachot ever, because nobody does it. Kamashe said in Morocco they would sit a whole week in one place and okay, nobody's doing that. But I could promise you, the Hatan is not any happier in his house having a party than in anybody else's house. Doesn't make a difference to him. If he's in his mother's house or your house, what does he care? It's the same thing. Don't make
happy
sheva
in somebody
berachot.
else's house.
What?
Mashma is probably happy in somebody else's house because they don't have to clean up.
Yeah, that's what I would say. But if they cleaned up his house, man, maybe he'd be happier. I don't know. He just has to go inside. I don't hear it. I never had sheva berachot in my house. So I can't tell you.
Yeah.
Amen. Amen. Yes, Amen. Amen. Amen.
Rabbi, it's
Amen. Yes.
we're saying and simha ela bimkom seudah. That means it has to be literally. Not you can't say birkat hatanim in a place that you're not eating, right?
That we all agree with that.
So then why are we not using ela bahupa also literally? And simha ela
What's the
bahupa.
chuppah? What's the chuppah?
It's for sure not the restaurant.
Why not? What is the chuppah?
I mean,
Chuppah means my house.
It's clearly something. No, it's not whatever
is
you
it?
want it to be.
So I understand chuppah to mean the ikar makom simcha. Tonight the ikar makom simcha is in the restaurant.
The place. So it's always going to be somewhere. There's no limitation here.
So the
There's no
nafkamina
restriction.
is
What's the restriction of en simha ela bahupa then?
when you go out. If they go out for lunch, that's not the makom simcha.
They go out for lunch and people join them.
Right? That's not the ikar makom simcha.
But if somebody invites them for dinner, then it's okay. I don't understand what's the restriction.
It's only when you're making a simcha. If you're not making a simcha, it's not. Right? If he comes to shul and he's eating breakfast on the table and he brings his wife, not the Ikar Mikom Simcha. If you went out for lunch and there were 10 people there, I didn't go there to make a Simcha. That's even if they sing Oji Shama, it's still not the Ikar Mikom Simcha. But if somebody makes an event for them, that's the Ikar Mikom Simcha. What's the Ikar Mikom Simcha? The honeymoon?
I mean, anything they're doing for the wedding is makom simha. The whole.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Uh-huh.
You tell me, the guy's house.
It's a very fine line. It's a very fine line.
I don't think it's so fine. That's where the simcha is.
How do you judge it? How do you judge what's considered for the simha and just just spontaneous simha?
I think it's self-evident. I don't think it's
The
difficult.
text that you send out, come to Sheva
Right?
Brachot.
The guy reserved the Sheva Brachot from 6 weeks before the wedding. He called up the mother of the Hatan and he says, "This is my night." And they're preparing. They had everybody prepare for 6 weeks. This is a Sheva Brachot. Guy happens to go out to eat. That's not a Sheva Brachot.
Maybe the huppah has some type of significance. He looks at the huppah and it reminds him of the wedding.
Rosh
and
said,
he's,
again, the Tosfot said it's not where you got married. They got married on the street.
Raku Baruch. Have a great day.
Rabbi,
Take care,
thank you.
Have a good day.
Sei gesund.
Go to, bye.